KVU TV 25 Victoria.
Hello and welcome to Community Crossroads. I'm your host, Carolina Astrain. Coming up on this week's show, we hear from Victoria ER, the Victoria Symphony, Victoria College, and the Cuero Main Street program. We now welcome Dr. Stephen Gartzman with Victoria ER. Welcome to Community Crossroads.
Thanks for having me.
Well, it's great to see you. It's been a few months.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're now in back to school time, so at the top of every parent's mind is, how do I keep my kids safe whilst in a pandemic still?
Absolutely, and it's all about prevention. So with school back in session, there's going to be bugs swirling around that our kids are going to be bringing home. So it's all about prevention, which means to get ourselves and our children vaccinated for both COVID, flu. Get your flu vaccination, get your COVID booster. If you haven't been vaccinated yet, get your kids vaccinated. 6 months and over now, almost everyone can get vaccinated. And to help protect our kids. Good personal hygiene to teach our kids, but mainly to demonstrate, because if we're not doing it, the kids watch our every move, and if they see us doing it, they may do it, but if they don't see us practicing good personal hygiene with washing our hands, using hand sanitizer appropriately, then they're not going to do it. So to set an example for our kids, prevention's the best way to go. And so good personal hygiene, get everybody vaccinated in the house, and let's save some lives and protect the vulnerable in our population that won't be able to protect themselves.
Definitely no sharing ice cream cones at lunch, right?
That's right.
And vitamins, those multivitamins that you take on the daily, are those also recommended?
They're optional. That's not mandatory. Many organizations still recommend them for their kids, once-a-day vitamins, but with a good, as long as you're not on any dietary restrictions, having a good, well-rounded diet, then they're not necessary.
And how about COVID? If your child does ultimately get COVID, what are some treatments that you recommend for at home?
Well, for most kids, most healthy kids, there's no specific treatment that is necessary, especially if you're vaccinated and you don't have any chronic underlying medical problems. It's probably going to be only a mild illness, mild respiratory or flu-like illness that our children will be able to fight off, just like any other virus.
And if that fever kind of gets high, just get some of those ice pops, some Jell-O, keep that fever down.
Anytime a child has a fever, we're worried about dehydration, and we want to control the fever. Kids get dehydrated very easily with the temperature, so we want to keep the fever down with Tylenol and Motrin if they're not allergic. Lots of electrolyte fluids to prevent dehydration, and to see your doctor to get tested for flu or COVID if you're not vaccinated.
Well, great. And I know monkeypox is on the rise in some areas. Do you have any recommendations as far as children staying safe from monkeypox?
It's very rare. There's been only a couple of cases, I think maybe 2 cases in this country in kids so far. So it's very, very rare and unlikely, especially in healthy kids. The best prevention, again, is good personal hygiene and sanitation. It's much less and more difficult to transmit than COVID, so it's much, much less of a concern than COVID right now here in Victoria.
Well, great. Thank you so much, Dr. Gartzman, for spending this time with us to keep us updated. And thank you for all you do.
Oh, thanks for having me.
And coming up, don't go anywhere. We hear from the Victoria Symphony.